third beer's the one, man.
The third one is the one?
Third beer's the one.
Nice.
Afternoon and welcome once again to Gaming Under the Influence. I'm Mike, here with Alex, coming to you under the GreenDragonCVR brand to talk to you once again about video games.
Oh, yeah.
And shit, man, I've been in the midst of what I might call a fucking, AAA disillusionment. I think the last AAA game I finished was Cyberpunk at the end of December. And I love Cyberpunk, talked about it extensively, but even the AAA mechanics involved in that were wearing thin on me. I was like, by the end of it, like, totally convinced that they should have made that in a different genre, practically. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, man.
But then I played Disco Elysium, and whilst playing that, I was thinking about going back to Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which I did once after fucking finishing it. And I was like, man, looking at my save file, I realized there's this site that I use on our website to post our gamer profiles on the contact site.
Yeah.
That it tabulates actually all of the hours you play in a game. Somehow it knows, even games
crap.
that it doesn't show on the PlayStation, like Days Gone. And I saw I played over 35 hours of Assassin's Creed Valhalla. And it took me 25 point something to beat Demon Souls. It took me 27 or 30 to beat fucking Disco Elysium. And I was reading I actually didn't know this. I was reading an article this week about, it was the headline was something like, I think it was on Tom's Guide, that site we usually rag on, but fuck, it was a pretty funny article. It was about how Assassin's Creed Valhalla needs to end, He's like, yeah, it's a charming game. It's got a great cast of characters. It's pretty fun to play. Exactly. I share all those sentiments. I like the world and stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure.
But I'm getting to the point already where I'm like, fuck, man, I'm done. I've raided thousands. It feels like I've raided 1,000 monasteries.
It's wearing thin for sure.
I've only been through 3 or 4 of the zones in England there. And that's how far I think the mechanics and story can really carry you in a game like this, right? This, for me, it's not a fucking...
that's fair to say, I guess.
It's not a Death Stranding, bro. It's not a Dark Souls. It doesn't have that seamless fucking, conversation going on between its fucking concept and the gameplay mechanics. It feels like really they were just trying to justify its length with a story by the end of it, and that can get you through a little bit.
Yeah, they're just trying to write in the story just to fill it, but
by God, man, you get to the fucking, apparently there's 13 zones.
And you only did 3.
And I did 3. It took me 35 hours to get this far.
But were you fucking taking your time?
I guess a bit. I don't know. Not really, though. I wasn't even doing all of the things. I was barely engaging with all the features very selectively. I was just fighting the knights that were wandering around. I was just leveling up my weapons.
I think that's fucking. I think that's one of it's maybe Ubisoft's things where they're just trying to cram it with so much. And at the end of the day, that's great. Maybe it's a very well conceived thing. The world is full, and if you wanted, you could. What I'm saying is, if you wanted to, you could extract 100+ hours of content out of it. But
to me, that's it's almost MMO-esque at that stage. It's lost its life a long time ago. It's just a fucking zombie, bro. It's just walking. It's shambling forward without any fucking real life in its bones.
I agree that I wouldn't be able to personally interest myself.
I get what you're saying. Maybe as a value proposition, but
yeah.
I don't know, man. It seems like fucking past the point is too much. I remember playing Far Cry 5 just a couple of years ago. I beat it in fucking a weekend or some shit. I fucking have, and all of those Far Cry games of that era, from 3, I didn't play 4 actually, unfortunately.
I didn't play
all the way through, anyways.
4 either, but I played.
I think I maybe just dabbled in it or did that secret ending where you just sit there. But fucking, I did 3 and 4 and Primal and fucking, or I did 3 and Primal and 5. I played a little bit of fucking New Dawn and didn't really dig it that much.
Fuck New Dawn.
But yeah, those other ones, man, they stand out so strongly in my mind. And the one thing they all have in common is they're fucking 20 to 30 hour games, They have an open world, but it's not this fucking slog, man. Oh my God.
It's more manageable.
Oh, the progression is cool too, because the way you progress is by especially in Far Cry 5, it stands out as a great example in my mind. It's just by going through the world. You see a camp full of enemies and you fuck it up. And it contributes to agitating the boss that he comes out to find you, right? And man, that's so refreshing. It doesn't feel like you're constantly torn between actually progressing the story and doing anything else, and neither part really satisfies you that much. It's just
it kind of brings it together, right? It makes it so that you just do your thing in the world, and then eventually it'll progress naturally, right?
Yeah, even the Assassin's Creed games of the fucking AC2 through fucking I don't know, the Rogue era.
Assassin's Creed 2 was one of my fucking
and they also
favorite
weren't that
games.
long, 30, 40 hour games, right?
Probably something like that.
So man, now this to me this is just like absurd. What the fuck
I didn't
are
even
you
know
doing
Valhalla
here?
was that long.
That's me neither. That's crazy.
something-
Like I like that game. Like it's fine.
I like
do
it
like
too,
it, but like,
but-
dude, it should end. Like I figure
Something-
I was like halfway done at least. You know?
You're wrong.
Are you kidding me?
Something about it, like, I think kind of like, maybe fucking. I know I'm not a huge fucking open world guy, like, but something about that game told me like it was gonna be too long for me. I don't know. I just couldn't like get into it.
But it's not just this one. For me, it's like this is the same experience I had with Ghost of Tsushima, which I looked too. I did 50 hours of that game.
See, I beat that game, but
I fucking played 50 hours of it.
maybe this is you.
You know what the fuck?
Maybe
Maybe it's me. Yeah,
Maybe
but,
it's you.
but I'm just playing it like it's supposed to be played. I'm not even touching
Yeah.
all the content. You know?
I mean, yeah, because there's also the argument that like I played Skyrim and I beelined through the main quest, and I feel like I didn't actually play
Yeah, no, I feel
Skyrim
you.
because I fucking
But
literally.
for me,
just
like, dude,
beelined
the thing
main
is,
quest.
the world is like fucking games like Ghost of Tsushima. Again, I got this problem where like I don't give a shit about your stupid life. You know?
Yeah.
That's not gonna carry me through, man.
You want to unravel.
It's not
sort
gonna.
of the
Yeah, it's
fucking
not like
everything
even
going
in
on.
playing Days Gone, like you're finding your wife was bound up and figuring out what the hell was going on in the world and stopping this like maniacal fucking dictator and shit like that. It wasn't just this like. The stakes were so like.
Yeah.
I just get fucking totally burnt
Very
down on
to
that,
the
man.
ground personal story
Yeah,
about
so you-
one
you know.
character and not like the whole grand scheme of what's
Yeah,
going
yeah.
on
It
in the
seems
world.
like there's not much
Yeah.
there for your mind to latch onto past the
Yeah.
point. You're just following along. You're kind of like bleh, just fucking on fucking standby. You know, it's no challenge. It's terrible. So I got this experience a lot with AAA games, man. You know, and I like them in theory. Like I like the world, but I feel like after barely touching the actual substantial or supposedly substantial content, like I see the map and I'm done. I'm like, okay, what the fuck? Like Watch Dogs Legion.
You didn't finish Legion either, right?
No, I unlocked all of London.
Yeah.
But now what do I care what happens to these people? You know what I mean? That's what I'm trying to say. Like it
Yeah.
seems like there's this, that might be a ludonarrative dissonance right there, you know? This mereological dissonance, this fight between the parts in a fucking thing, right? Like that's brutal, man. I think that the solution to something like this, you know, to this fucking common nature of the AAA game. Well, firstly, like I think what we could call this is a fucking games becoming commoditized, right? Like they become, first of all, fucking judged according to their value as a consumer product. And first and foremost, amongst qualities that make it valuable is the playtime, right?
Playtime for sure.
Yeah, that's what
How
people like.
polished,
Yeah, people
fancy
complain. Like,
graphics.
remember Resident Evil fucking 3? Like people shit on it because it was 5 instead of 8 hours. Ugh. You know? Or Final Fantasy fucking
Have you
7
played
remake.
The Order on PS4?
No, but I know the memes about it for sure.
You know all about it. I fucking actually, when that game came out, I actually did it in one sitting. At
And
the
what'd
time,
you
because
think?
I knew like the whole thing around it was that, you know, people were bitching that it's short, like how can you charge full price? So I was like, you know what? It was actually with Zach at the time. Me and him did it in my basement. We're like, fuck it, let's just crush this game in one sitting. And we did it. And honestly, I loved the game. I fucking loved it. It was sick. Like, it was a little bit on the short side, but
I don't care about that at all.
yeah, if you're looking at the
I crave
value
that now.
proposition, yeah,
I crave that
honestly,
now.
play the Order. Go way back. We're going back like years
I want
now.
that fucking sweet spot, bro. Like Disco Elysium I just finished. It's perfect. It's that fucking nice
This game wasn't even
25,
that long.
30 hour mark.
I think
you know?
the Order is like an 8.
That's cool too, though. Like
maybe.
I could deal with that. Like I like games like that too. They can be awesome, right? Like
Yeah,
don't get
for
me wrong.
sure.
But for me, like there was something that AAA games did have at one point, and that games used to have in the PS2 era. This was like the natural runtime. It feels like things naturally exhausted themselves. A long
Yeah.
game would take that long, but now, like, dude, long games, like, very rarely does it feel for me like it has the life that something like I found Death Stranding or Days Gone had. Both of those games, to me, like their systems felt so organic, you know? You took such great pleasure in just feeling what you were doing fucking grow into what it would become at the end, you know? It's so substantially different. Driving around in the beginning and end of the game.
even on
right?
a lesser scale, like, well, I guess actually this would support our point, saying like Bloodstain.
Yeah,
stuff,
Bloodstain, exactly.
right?
Yeah, it has that real
But
sense
when I
where
think
like
about like even some of my favorite games of all time, I mean, it always goes back to the PS2, like the Metal Gear Solid games and stuff like that. They had so much to carry
Yeah.
you through, right?
Yeah.
Even if it wasn't as long. But yeah, now with this advent of like open world massive games that are huge and have branching storylines,
Yeah.
and it's like that's all well and great and good, but holy
very rarely does the storyline
fuck,
carry you,
yeah,
bro. Very
like-
rarely, yeah.
Jesus.
That's why, like, I feel like, fuck, man, Death Stranding, especially really nailed this for me because, of course, with the story, not only do the stakes become more cosmic as you go, but like what you're doing essentially is the same, but just the act of travel goes from literally walking up a hill is a pain in your dick to like just blasting over mountains like a fucking superhero. And it's amazing on this. Oh,
That's
it's so
true,
cool.
yeah.
By the end, like you really feel like that world is yours. It's
You conquered
justified.
it,
Yeah,
yeah,
I love it. You know, and you
yeah.
know every corner of it. It's not busting your balls except when it should, for you to feel afterwards like you just beat a Dark Souls boss. You know, it's awesome. That's great. And even like people hated Days Gone, but it was awesome, bro. For the same reason, like all of the systems by the end, you're not at all doing the same thing. In Assassin's Creed, I am still doing the same thing I was doing in the first couple of hours with the same kind of weapon. Now it's like 2 levels higher. Oh, like. You know, like, fuck, it's mindless, man. It's fucking nothing changes.
It's like
mindless
invisible
as fuck.
progress, right? Your numbers go up, but the enemy's numbers go up, and at the end of the day, it's like an
it's
illusion
awful. Yeah,
just to
we're-
make it seem like...
In fucking Days Gone, man, you're at the beginning, like, you're fucking, you could barely drive anywhere. You could barely kill 2 guys.
Yeah, you run
Like,
out of
you're
gas all the
it's, Yeah, it's
time.
almost
Yeah, it was like
horror.
survival,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then by the end, you're like fucking ripping your bike across bridges like a fucking rocket, and you're fighting thousands of dudes at once, literally thousands of them.
Yeah.
Fucking, oh, it's sick,
That game
man.
didn't get the credit
No,
deserved for
I
stuff like that.
fucking love that game. It
Yeah.
definitely did not get the credit. That was a great game. It was great all around. And now that studio, I think, lost its creative leadership, so you're never going to see a game like that again.
I should run it.
I think
through
that
on
makes
the
it all the
PS5
better.
now.
All the better. It's going to
Yeah.
be like, I bet you, like a cult fucking classic, bro. You wait and see. That game is incredible. People don't appreciate, like, the
Days
next
Gone
generation of
remaster
designers,
on
they're
the
going to rip the
PS7.
fuck off of that game. Like, somebody that, I don't understand why open world designers don't use those kinds of same, like, ideas when they're building games. Like, in Assassin's Creed, for example, like, even like you have in this game, a Viking fucking longship that's still doing the same fucking thing it did in the goddamn tutorial. Like, what the
Yeah.
fuck? You know,
Yeah.
even something simple like that, bro. Like, why is...
It's almost like there's no progression.
It's just like mindless.
fucking-
You're just
yeah.
like... And it's great, like, because I understand, like, what they're representing. I do like it. I like this Viking stuff and shit like that, bro. But, like, now it's represented. What's the inner logic of having it carry you forward for fucking literally 4 times what I already played? Is that real? Is that real?
Well, in your case, then it would be what, like a 100-hour game?
Yeah,
Like, what-
that's what this article said. It's 130 hours for them to finish the fucking game.
Are you crazy?
130 hours.
You can't invest 130 hours in Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
No way. No way.
So that
yeah.
being said, we're in luck for February.
Because we don't have any of these fucking great AAA games, which, you know. And even to my mind, like, I dicked around a lot in Cyberpunk, but none of that, like, you know, you could play that game in the manner I'm describing, which is, to its credit, like, it's not a fucking bloated game.
I
in
beat
terms
it
of the-
in 25 hours.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
honestly,
Yeah.
I'm
It's got
hate
more
to
of a
say,
Skyrim
but
vibe. Like, you
kind
can...
of done with it.
Yeah, fucking, I am too. I'm done. I even deleted off all my PS5. I'm definitely done, yeah.
That's it.
But I love that game. What are you
I
gonna
like
do?
it too,
It's like
yeah.
reading a fucking novel. I literally exhausted it, man. I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of it's just bullshit mechanics, you know, like
Yeah.
literally what's left in all other open world games.
If I'm gonna do that, I might as well just shoot people in Call of Duty in the head.
Yeah. See, like, I just can't, I want to push this point for 2 more seconds. Like, I'm trying to think to myself, like, if I'm gonna fucking go play Ghost of Tsushima, if I'm gonna go even finish like fucking something like Red Dead, you know, the notable exception might be Mafia 3. But if I'm gonna finish either of these 2 games, what the fuck's what am I gonna be doing? Like, what's carrying me through? Just literally to see what happens to the characters?
Yeah.
That's it.
I guess. Yeah. Like.
I don't give a fuck though. You know?
That was my problem with Red Dead, and I beat it. I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago. I finally finished it. And it was like,
Red Dead more so than I would
kinda
care more,
to
but
see
like,
how it ends with John, because then technically that's supposed to carry over into Red Dead 1,
Yeah.
which I do like. But like, I'm never gonna play Red Dead 1 again. So like, And then
know,
like
man.
Arthur already is, you know. So
yeah.
I'm like, whatever, right?
Yeah.
I kind of consider Arthur's like campaign of Red Dead like more the fucking definitive story.
Yeah,
And
me
then the
too, yeah.
epilogues are kind of like,
Yeah.
if you got it in you. Like,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
like, I almost didn't.
You know?
And you definitely don't.
No, I definitely don't.
Arthur's story was bomb, but anyway.
It's neat in Mafia 3, for example, how like closer to the end, you fucking really having taken over different parts of the city. You have all these different gangs working for you. You can like call in guns. You can call in
the
hit
world
squads,
changes
like, something
around you,
happens.
right? Yeah.
It becomes justified, you know? And each fucking place you take over, you assign to a fucking member of your gang, you know, one of your lieutenants and shit, and it drastically alters the course of the story, who you give that shit to, you know?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
fuck, man, I guess it feels purposeful, right? Like there's a reason to keep going. It's not just like, okay, fucking, you
Just slogging
it's not
your
merely
ass,
like it's
yeah.
to see the outcome of the fucking whole picture that they painted for you, right? And I guess you could argue in Ghost of Tsushima, you want to see what happens on Tsushima, but like, that's not really the story, is it?
No,
You know?
it's not. It's really the game has a very personal story, right? And the stuff around it is still nonetheless like the world is cool and everything around it, but
Yeah.
the driving point is to progress the story,
Yeah.
the personal story of you know.
Even the conversations between the
yeah.
Mongol guy and your uncle, it's like, fuck off, man. You know? We don't need that shit. We
Yeah.
just don't, yeah. So anyways, I guess I'm finding like fucking this I'm tired. I'm worn out on AAA game design, you know?
I think I have been for a while. Like
Yeah,
honestly,
man.
if fucking we didn't do this every week, I might never. Definitely, that's not true.
I feel
but-
you. I might never play
but,
one either. You're right. Fuck. I installed Hitman 3. I'm like, I'm just not going to play it.
See, I wouldn't mind.
Why am I going to play this?
playing
Just because
Hitman 3,
everybody
but-
else is playing it? That's
Yeah.
why. Because we're going to cover it? Like,
See, yeah,
fuck
that's
it.
the thing. That's the wrong reason. Then,
Yeah,
if,
it
if
is,
that's
yeah.
the case, yeah, fuck
I just
that.
don't care, you know?
Yeah.
And we come now to the fucking possible fucking remedy to this fucking period where there's nothing interesting AAA wise to play, and that might be fucking the AA space, which we noted fucking has experienced something of a resurgence in recent years. I think the most notable fucking examples to my mind of games in the AA space recently are things like The Surge.
Yeah, the Surge was a good one.
Really
probably
like The
that
Surge too.
Hellpoint, I guess.
Hellpoint,
too,
I
right?
guess is, I'm not sure. Yeah, I guess it's closer to fucking
Right.
AA than indie.
Greedfall.
Yeah, Greedfall fucking for sure. Technomancer made by the same studio a little bit before that. There's a number of games like that. Even The Medium might fucking, which just came out. We should play that.
Yeah,
By the way,
yeah.
I got it on Game Pass, bro. I'm
Yeah, I've
stream
been
that
meaning
shit.
to ask you about that one.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind giving the Medium
I'm
a
gonna
shot.
play that. I
That's
like that
the-
genre,
One of the
yeah.
the
Yeah.
newest kind of.
Yeah, that's cool. I want a physical copy. There isn't one, but
No.
it's it looks neat. So I've heard good things. I'm interested to check it out. I have some tolerance for fucking bullshit mechanics if it's got a fucking interesting concept. you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna check that out for sure. But yeah, just like that, actually, The Medium might be next week. We'll come back to talk about that and another one called Atelier, this other RPG series, because we didn't have a chance to check them out this week. But for now, in the AA space, which, you know, we can fucking pretty easily define. Like, people might bicker about this, but like, I think AA space is fucking where you find like something like fucking, instead of there being 10, 20 people, you got fucking 70, 100 people working on the game. You got
Yeah.
$1 million
Sounds
or
about
more
right
dollars
these
at
days.
stake, but not like 500 million, not AAA.
Yeah, that's the thing. Now AAA is so big
Yeah,
that
AAA is like very
is
clearly
like,
like another fucking, and you can even tell looking at the thing, like it's
Yeah.
fucking technologically inferior.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's made with a different brush, right? Like,
And that's why it usually hasn't a more interesting art style rather
yeah,
than...
but the fucking trade-off, of course, is the reason people do this. I read this great fucking thing the other day. Like, why do people write novels, you know? Like, it's the most fucking hands-off thing. It's the most symbolic. Like, you're fucking not really representing it. You're telling somebody a representation they have to build with their own head.
Right.
Why do people do this? Because you don't have to compromise your fucking vision at all, you know? It's yours entirely. You don't need a team of fucking people to cooperate with. You just do it. It's yours. That's it.
just fucking write it
You know?
down.
And fucking, I think some of this applies to why people would build a game with inferior technology, right? Like, there's less need to fucking collaborate with the means necessary to achieve
Yeah, they're
that,
not
right?
fucking with like
Yeah.
photogrammetry
You're not fucking,
and like
you know,
tons of
none of that
voice
shit, and you don't need
acting
the big money to make that shit
Yeah.
happen. You secure your means. They're like, all right, bro, you do your thing. You're trusted now. It's almost like this fucking. It seems to me like. It's a bad comparison because I definitely don't think AAA games are like Tolkien, you know, but like in the same way as you could have like fucking flagship things pioneering a fucking genre, like you have Tolkien writing fantasy or even like really, you know, grade A fantasy authors, like I could fucking, you know, what I think are some of them, you know, like this, not even, it's not important, but you know, and then you could have other guys just fucking writing in the same genre, new authors like working within it too, and maybe they're not fucking writing at the same caliber or even fucking selling as many copies or any of that crazy shit, but it's still respectable work within that genre. It fucking is pretty much an acknowledgement that these are respectable forms of art and they're working within it to the best of their means. And oftentimes, because of the fact that they don't have to compromise, kind of like the novelist, as much there,
Yeah.
right? They probably still do, but not as much. Still publicly traded companies, you know, all that shit still applies, but
just less stakes, right? for
yeah,
them
less
to
stakes
have
and
to-
therefore more leeway, it seems
Yeah,
like anyways. It usually works out that way. So we here at Gaming Under the Influence have decided to spend the next couple of weeks suggesting to you a fucking couple of games to satisfy your AAA malaise coming out in Q1 2021 in the AA publishing space, starting with Ys IX Monstrum Nox, which came out in Japan in 2019, but the Western release is going to be February 2nd. And you had the chance to play the demo. We
baby.
played a little bit of it, eh?
Yeah, I'm actually stoked for this. I feel like I've been looking for a game in this vein for a while, and a little while ago I briefly played Ys 7 for a little bit, and that's a PS4 sort of remaster or port of, you know, a PS2 game, which creates all kind of parallels with what we're talking about right now. But I briefly played a little bit of it, and the gameplay was great. It was something I've kind of been looking for. I feel that's a little more casual, but still not too like floaty, like Final Fantasy 15 or like DMC, where it's like you're saying just hallways of shit, right? Anyways, so Ys IX is something I'm looking forward to. I played a little bit of the demo, which only problem with that is I played a fucking demo. So they give you sort of 2 dungeons you can just warp into and just run around. So it feels very like, because it's a dungeon, just like a basis dungeon. But when you get into the grand scheme, the whole game, and actually go through the thing, I'm sure it'll be better. But I like the snappy combat, the really fast, movement and running up walls, and
I like that too.
It's got a fairly simple real-time combat but also has like modifiers where you hold down R1 and you have your different skills, and then plus you can also switch between characters, which reminds me of 7 Remake Final Fantasy, right? So it seems like it could turn out well. It looks like a pretty sick game.
I think so too, man. I think so too. There's a lot of reviews already floating around, and people who are fans of the series, which I've never completed one of these games, they seem to think it's a respectable entry. Maybe not the best one. People seem to like the last one more.
8?
I think so.
Yeah, this is 9. So the last one would have been 8. I think 7 I had was something like Lacrimosa.
The next one was
8 was. So
Memories of Calcutta or something like that. Yeah.
I haven't played any of these games to be able to compare them, and I don't really know much about them.
The one I gave you,
7,
when it came out a long time ago.
It launched on the Vita originally?
I think it was already ported to Vita, at that time. But it was a cool game.
It was a PS2 game. Sorry. And
I played a pile of it. I was like, fuck, this is sick, bro. It was sick. I was on a bender at that time, incidentally. I can talk about this now. I think it should be fine. I used to fucking sit outside in my backyard a lot because... back in the day, I couldn't smoke bees in the house, right? So I had to fucking sit in the backyard to rip some bees, and I therefore it became very fond of my Vita.
And
Vita's I played
best.
So many great games that summer. I think it was like 2014 or something. Just sitting on the patio, ripping bees, and fucking playing like Muramasa Demon Blade, fucking Odin Sphere, and this one, man. I played this. I was like, what is this shit? It's a nice looking fantasy game, whatever. I fucking picked it up and I was like, dude, it plays like fucking sick.
Yeah, even on the Vita. So now imagine on the PS4 or 5, it played
really cool.
Yeah.
I liked how it's hard to describe the combat because it feels like they take your fucking standard action combat template with your attack and your dodge and blah, 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 blah. And, look what people do with this kind of shit, right? Most of the time, nowadays, the trend is to fucking be inhibitive, I guess you would say, with this kind of combat, right? Like you want to impose restrictions on things like movement and dodging, like Assassin's Creed Valhalla, for example, right? You got a stamina bar.
Yeah.
And that was the tendency for a while, and I think Souls really popularized that approach to combat, obviously, right? And I could go on and on about how much I love Souls, but one thing I fucking don't like is that about Souls. I do like how Sekiro fucking jettisoned that.
Yeah.
That to me is like the equivalent of I see that's a good way to express the idea. Like, we want to have 2 people fucking fighting. It's not like just blah, 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 going crazy and stuff like that. You have to fucking pay attention and be deliberate. Okay, great. How do we do that with a stamina bar? Fine. But now we've seen that people do that otherwise, without artificially limiting the amount of fucking actions you can take in a given time span.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you could tell, these guys, they got to balance, how fucking much stamina hundreds of weapons take. And sometimes you just feel like it's bullshit. It's just like, what the fuck?
It's a lot.
It's just mechanically induced. It's not any more representing anything. It just feels like unnecessary. Sekiro, because of, I guess, the fucking restricted tool set available to the player, they're able to so effectively fucking, you could feel the same thing. Your actions are limited, but it's by the circumstances you're in, right? You can't just flail around because the guy will fucking just destroy you that you're fighting, if you're just acting like an idiot, right? You have to measure your attacks. You have to be defensive.
That's the cool thing about the posture gauge, right?
Exactly.
It's not...
I think for that same reason, you could make even something like regenerating health work in a Souls game and totally eliminate the need to worry about mistakes per run and wishes. Again, to me, that seems like another bullshit inhibition. False.
Yeah.
That you could overcome with better design, right?
Because at the end of the day, the way we play Soul games, right? You take a couple hits and then you can heal usually anyway, right?
Yeah. What the healing mechanics are, the limited healing is just a limited number of mistakes per run.
Exactly.
Which is why not just instead have it that you have a limited number of mistakes per 5
get hit
seconds.
3
You got to
times,
retrieve
you're
heal.
fucking done.
Yeah,
in a
right.
row.
That's usually what happens anyways.
Yeah.
By the end of, most of the time, unless you're brand new at a Souls fight, a boss fight, you never run out of healing items before you die.
Yeah.
Like, they should just build that into the loop. Be like, all right, bro, we're not going to make you
Well,
die.
isn't that kind of like what the Estus flask is? Because basically,
Yeah, it is, but it's still 10 per run, say. What if you're in a
okay,
boss and it's a long
yeah.
boss?
And so,
I guess
yeah.
they want to prevent battles of attrition where you're just chipping at the guy and running back and
Running
healing.
back,
I
healing,
do
yeah,
get
yeah,
that, but
yeah.
then you should just make it so that that's not possible, right? It is definitely fucking, you could design it that way. I'm just trying to say, like, all of this is just to illustrate the sense in which you could take your action combat. Games like Ys and Assassin's Creed Valhalla both have action combat, but one takes an inhibitive approach. They impose like stamina bars.
Right.
They impose all this shit.
This is more free flow, right?
Yeah,
You
so that
just
your
run
mind, like,
around and-
you want to fucking do this or that, but then you're like, oh yeah, fuck, I gotta fuck it. You're not limited by anything other than literally this mechanical inhibition. Not by the guy attacking you, not by the environment, not by anything like that, by a fucking bar.
By a bar that's on screen on your
Yeah,
HUD.
it's a pain in the ass. So this game, like,
yeah.
they don't have that, right? They have
No.
a fucking instead this super fluid movement system. I love it, man. I love it. I was even saying before we started filming this, dude, if Final Fantasy 15 had combat like this, it would be substantially improved on a mechanical level. Like, this is
Yeah,
an
it feels
instance-
way less floaty and like.
Yeah, man.
Final Fantasy 15. As
Yeah.
much as I fucking love that game,
I do
the
too, but not
combat
for this
system
reason.
Is
Yeah.
just weird.
Yeah. It's too like it
Yeah.
expects you to fucking be able to react frame by frame, but you're not able to see what the fuck's going on, bro.
Yeah.
It's all
Yeah.
shit going
Yeah.
fucking crazy in front of you. Like,
a mess,
even this
dude.
game, like, you're supposed to dodge out of the way, and because they're aware that the camera's a little bit far fucking back, and oftentimes 50 enemies are around you, they denote it by some means. The attacks are evidently coming at you. They make it possible for you to react, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it's something that Souls is fucking really good at doing too. They're good at fucking telegraphing, at least the best Souls
Telegraphing,
fights are,
exactly,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. So I find that fucking this game, like, I played one of the bosses on the footage that we're gonna be able to fucking show soon, and it's fucking easy if you fucking react, but if you're just hammering your face away at it, it's not, right? And it's something that you could achieve either by putting fucking an artificial number of attacks per second, let's say, or you could just make the player react.
I wonder though how, because we played it on the normal difficulty, and I'm not too interested to fucking really try any of the harder ones, but I wonder if maybe how it works in the harder difficulties, if it almost becomes like a different game, like if that's the case.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, like, it feels like to me though, like.
Sorry. Yeah.
Oh no, you first, please.
I was gonna say, like,
support your point. Like, I'm sure
Just
it does.
do people like who play these games, actively play these harder fucking modes,
Like,
and do any of them consider it like a canon difficulty? Like, I don't know, right?
It feels like, just from the fucking bits that I played, like, it's possible to avoid every fucking attack. And therefore, in the same way that you can just sit there and dole out damage and at any time break your animation and dodge, like, you shouldn't be able to take too many hits for it to be a fucking balanced, like, but not appropriate. It would seem like a difficulty where you could take 2 or 3 hits might be appropriate balance, right? Because if you could, you can dodge, you could break your attacks and just dodge out of the way like in Sekiro, but it's not like Sekiro.
So what do you like saying, if I played it on one of the harder difficulties or even the hardest one, like that's how you would have to approach it, like just play it like Souls, like
not quite like Souls, but like, you don't want to be able to just, you don't want to turn to the point where you don't have to pay attention. Then it just becomes purposeless.
Yeah.
Where you can just sit there and like, oh, I got hit, and again, okay, whatever, and just keep like. For me, I clock the fuck out, bro. When that shit happens, like, I can't.
Of course, yeah.
But contrarily though, like, I also clock out when it just feels like the combat is just made like, artificially, like fucking. I was actually feeling that way. Remember we were talking the night that I was beating the Demon Souls remake there?
Yep.
And I was fucking losing my shit. I was not fucking pleased.
Up,
I was like, this is fucking pissing me off, man.
I think
the run
fucked you
back
up
to
more
this
than me.
boss pissed me the fuck off. Because it's not even like, it's not difficult. It's just mechanically, it's like demands a ritual of you.
Yeah.
You gotta go through the motions over and over. Holy shit.
Stop. There's the first fucking like bluegrass night guy or whatever, and then there's another red one that runs at you. I don't even know what the fuck
I'm not down for that shit. What we need is reactive shit, where like it's difficult because it demands you recognize a cue and you react. That's good shit. Not just like, okay, I know what I have to do. I just have to do it at exactly the right moment. I can't rush it even though I'm bored and tired, That's not fun, man. And that's usually the way that I feel when I'm like, by the end of playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla, like I fucking...
Fuck that.
Oh my god.
Yeah, this is why I'm really stoked for fucking Ys 9, even though like it's a series that I've not really played much. It just
same.
Seems like
And it's got good fiction too. That's the other thing. They have fucking fairly well developed fiction after all of these fucking entries in the game, and I think probably a lot of the same fucking folks are working on it that used to fucking work on it. You know, it's interesting. If you read the Wikipedia page, they're credited along with Enix and fucking Square for like halfway inventing the JRPG genre with Ys and with Legends of Cold Steel, which is another big JRPG franchise that they're responsible for.
Another bunch of good games on PS2, Vita.
Apparently really long
PS3.
though. Those games are apparently so long.
Jesus.
That's why I haven't played them. I'm not fucking, you know, they're holy fuck. Like apparently like in the
I bet this Ys one is probably pretty.
This is, I heard it's like 40 or 50.
Yeah.
You know, if you do all the shit, so it's more tolerable to me. Like I can crash through that. Like if it's fun to get through and there's some story elements involved, like Fire Emblem, right?
Wow.
So that's cool. That's fucking a AA JRPG, and I think you should check it out not only for the fucking slick, uninhibitive approach to action combat that it offers in comparison to a lot of the AAA games we play these days, but also because the fiction is pretty cool after having fucking 9 games to develop it within. You know, they have this fucking guy, Adel Christen, he's just an adventurer. That's what he's defined as. And in this game, he's captured by this empire that's literally called the Roman Empire, spelt in a strange way, you know?
Hey, this is interesting. Look, so this game came out in Japan in 2019 in September, but the worldwide release, which is what we're obviously talking about now for PS4, is February 2021.
Yeah.
Wow.
Tuesday.
And it's coming out on PC and Nintendo Switch.
Yes.
But that's for mid 2021. So interesting that it's this delayed, but that it's still, like, you would think a game that came out in Japan in 2019, unless it was immediately successful, it would come here right away. But
that they would even bother localizing it, right? I bet you, like,
that's what
they
I mean,
fucking
but, like,
had
why
that,
would they at this point?
They probably did that other one that remember the one I handed you the other month? I had some extra copies or whatever, but it must have sold fairly well. I bet you that was like a testing ground. Or
7?
something, you know? Yeah.
Yeah.
The re-release on PS4.
I'm surprised. Did it sell that well? To
it must have been doing okay, right? It can't cost them that much to localize it then. You know?
That's true. Yeah.
I know there was a UK edition out a little while ago too, available on eBay right now.
Interesting.
So yeah, I guess that's why we think fucking Ys IX is a great solution to your fucking AAA malaise, your AAA fatigue, you know?
That's definitely where
in the first quarter of 2021, at this fucking point, like, at least for a guy like me, you know, worn down on all of the fucking mechanics and the feeble, like, fucking cosmological motivations in most of these AAA games I'm playing, like, it's refreshing to jump into this fucking Japanese fantasy world, you know, which may not have, like, the technological prowess of, like, a Western AAA game. Or even a Japanese one, but it
definitely not.
It definitely has the fucking conceptual density to carry me through a 30 or 40 hour run, I think. So I'm gonna fucking see how this goes. And this is part 1 of, I guess, of our AA fucking dev and game focus for the first quarter of 2021, and we'll be back next week with part 2 focused on Little Nightmares. Thank you guys very much for tuning in to Gaming Under the Influence with GreenDragonCVR, episode 65. Take the fuck care, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah.